Hello, this is Mark Richmond from Chef Knives to Go, and this is Knife Sharpening for Newbies, lesson number 12, and today we're going to talk about stropping. If you watched lesson number 10, you saw me sharpen a knife from start to finish, and the last part of that demonstration was me stropping a knife on this little base here using balsa wood and boron carbide. And I just want to talk to you a little bit about this tool and some of the cool features, and then go through a brief demonstration on how I strop a knife. This base is pretty cool. It's galvanized on the top. It comes off, and it has a glass base underneath. And you can use these two bases with a wide variety of stropping substrates, I call them. This one is balsa wood. It has a magnet on the back. And this one is felt, also magnetized. And this one is leather, and the final one is thin film, and this one is used for the glass. And obviously the magnetic ones are easy to figure out. You just stick it on there like that and it holds it in place. The film, you can put some drops of water on here and put the film on top, and then load it with something like this, which would be diamond spray, and you just spritz it a few times, and that gives you a really hard flat surface to finish off your edge. You can also use glue stick on here to keep it in place. The base itself, this is how I typically use it, and I really like this balsa wood, and you can see that the compound is already on the balsa wood. And when you strop, we've talked about this before, but you basically are going not against the strop, you're going with it, and you're drawing the blade back against the edge. A little tip: when if you want to find your exact edge, just raise the knife and push against the strop just a little bit until it digs in. And mine just did here, so that's about right where the edge is. And you want to use light pressure and a consistent angle. And these are two things that over and over and over again you should think about when you're sharpening or stropping. Consistent angle is the key to getting an edge. And light pressure, you don't want to over push when you're sharpening or stropping. And then you go back and you do the same thing. And if you notice, what I'm doing here is I'm not going back and I'm not going straight down like this and moving over like I did when I sharpened. I'm taking the knife and I'm sweeping it against the strop all the way to the end. The final thing is, I mentioned this before, make sure you put down the knife and start going in the stropping direction. Don't go like this into the material. You'll roll the edge mostly, and you'll put a gash in your strop. So that's the basics for stropping, and you can see this is like the steroids of knife sharpening, because there are these different substrates, and you can combine them with all these different compounds that have different grit levels. This one, silicon carbide, is 2 micron, and this boron carbide, which is on here, is 1 micron, and the chromium oxide is the real fine stuff, and this is 0.5 micron. So this will give you a really fine edge, and the biggest improvement in my edges came after I learned how to do this simple routine. Of course, you can use all kinds of different things to strop with. Um, my teacher Murray Carter uses newspaper right on a hard flat stone, and I've used denim before. There's all kinds of things that you can do, and you can play with combinations to try to make it work for you. Just wanted to tell you one more thing. When you're loading the strop, don't get carried away. This seems like, some people will take this material and they'll put way too much of it on here. You don't want to paint it on thick so that it's, there's a big creamy layer on the substrate. All you want is maybe 3 pea-sized drops on here, and I'll just show you how I do it. You might want to go like this. Let's do 4. And then all I do is take a piece of cardboard or something that you can throw away and it has a little flat edge on it, and paint it on there. Just like that. And I recommend that once you do this, that you just take off the excess best you can. Again, you don't have to be perfect with this stuff. Once it's all coated and it's not too thick, just let that dry, and then you're ready to go. I did the same thing with this a few weeks ago, and the cool thing about the balsa is that it's inexpensive and it takes these compounds really well, and it's a little bit harder than the leather, so you can mix and match. Last one that we didn't really talk about is the felt, and felt you can do a couple things with. This has a much grittier feel when you try to strop on it, and you can use this for deburring by just stropping just a little bit higher than where the edge is. So instead of going right along the edge, you just raise it up a little, and you can hear that scrape sound that it makes. And this will take off, it'll take off burrs as you use it. You can load this with compound too. Some people like to use the diamond spray on this. So have fun with this. This is the fun part of sharpening, and mix and match and experiment, and that's my tip for today. So stay sharp.